We're back for day 3 Cheltenham Festival preview with the Horse Racing Network, with me, Izzy Phillips, and I'm joined by horse racing broadcaster and journalist Paul Alster. Paul, we've made it to day 3 and we're still going.
Yeah, we've got a couple of quid in the locker. Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll all be singing and dancing by this point.
Well, we're doing everything we can to try and point people in the right direction, so we can't do more than that.
We're going to sort of fly in here a little bit later in the card and jump straight in with the Ryanair Chase. I think quite an exciting race. I know we keep mentioning this. There's horses here that have got entries both in the Queen Mother Champion Chase if they wanted to drop down distance a little bit, and a few that have also got entries in the Gold Cup as well if they wanted to step up in trip. But this now boils down to Galopin Des Champs' bridesmaid, Factophile. Unless he's over 2 mile 5, obviously, in which case Factophile did get the better of him this season. You've also got the likes of Il Est Français in this race as well. And then you've got a few with those double entries, but you've got horses like Protectorat, who are going here again, and the likes of M. Violin as well, who have only got an entry in this race. Was there anyone that stood out to you in this field? Because I think this is going to be a really interesting race.
I think it might turn out to be the race of the festival because, as you pointed out, this is kind of a meeting point for those horses that have plenty of speed and those that have stamina, and the best horses that have the combination of those two traits. Now, Factophile is an early favourite. He's come up against Galopin Des Champs over 3 miles the last twice at Leopardstown, come off second and third best on one occasion. But this type of trip, I think, is just about ideal for him. But whether he's going to be an easy winner or not, I don't know, because I think there are quite a number of horses you pointed out that are of interest. Now, one that he only just got the better of at Punchestown earlier in the season is Spillan's Tower for Jimmy Mangan. And this JP McManus owned horse is a very talented horse. I don't think he was at his best at Kempton last time out in the King George. Remember, he was favourite for the King George, having only been beaten half a length by Factophile the time before. And I think he's one that could be decent each way value on the day. I don't think the ground, unless it's going to be different to what is forecast, is going to be testing enough for good old Protectorat. He's a wonderful horse who I adore. I think he's a wonderful horse. And if it comes up soft or heavy, then he's got a favourite's chance. But I don't think those conditions are going to be likely. And because of that, I think he'll probably find things happening a little bit too quick for him. But the French horse that you mentioned there is the Il Est Français, who was second in the King George, went off like the clappers, and he only just got reeled in the closing stages. So you can see him getting a few of them at it over this stiff 2 miles 5. And he's got to go very well as well. I think this is going to be an absolutely cracking race. And El Fabiolo as well, if he takes his chance there. I don't know where exactly he is going to run, but he will be very interesting too.
There was rumours that El Fabiolo may not run, wasn't there, just the other night? So we'll have to keep an eye on that one, because he's obviously still got his entries, so a bit odd. But my take on it is actually that I think Il Est Français will go out in front, have a big burn up, and I don't think that they're going to catch him. I know that everybody says, well, it's a different type of track to Kempton, and that's true. There are all the undulations, and it is very, very different. But this is also over that slightly shorter distance, and I think that if he does that over, that same front-running performance over 2 mile 5, I think that they won't catch him. So that's my take on the race. I'm sort of actually decided that I really quite fancy Il Est Français.
Yeah, I really can see him running well, especially as, unlike a lot of French horses, he likes decent ground. He won at Kempton last year in the Cato Star. He murdered Mizalen by 12 lengths or something. And then he only just missed out on the King George. So the ground will be right for him, and as long as he handles the track, he'll go very well. And as I say, Spillan's Tower, I think, is the other one to look at for those that are looking to have a bet each way, as things stand at the moment.
Right. If we have a little look next then, Paul, at the Stayers hurdle, where we've got kind of a scenario this year, as we have with a few of the other races, where you've almost got a horse up here and then the rest of the field kind of trailing behind. And that, of course, is Tehupu. Now, there's a few others in here that do deserve a mention, the likes of Home by the Leaf or Joseph O'Brien, who we spoke about on our Day 2 podcast, and also Lucky Place. You've got the Wall Park. But Tehupu, even money, does he look a good bet?
No.
I'm pleased you said that. So
yeah,
I agree.
I think he might win. He might win, and of course he won it last year. You know, he beat Florian Porter. We know he stays. It was soft ground when he won it last year. If it's good ground or good with good to soft in places, I'm not sure he'll be quite as effective because he's been beaten on a quicker surface a few times over the years.
Yeah.
I think Home by the Lee is a very solid horse. I know Nicky Henderson seems to think that he's probably going to let Lucky Place take his chance.
Yeah.
And he's been very progressive this season. We don't know that he stays, though. That's the problem. And Gordon Elliott's other runner, or one of his other potential runners, is the Wall Park. Now, quite a few shrewd judges believe that this horse is improving really fast. And he went from a handicap to a Grade 1 last time out and only was beaten just over 3 lengths in a race that wasn't run to suit him. So the Wall Park is, I think, a potential fly in the ointment. But I'm not so sure. If it is decent ground, I think Tehupu will probably drift. So he's even money at the moment. I could see him going off 6-4, 13-8, and the money coming for Home by the Lee and the Wall Park in particular.
I quite like the look of Gowl Road for the Tristan Davis team. He just about got his win at Cheltenham on Trials Day. Obviously, he'd had quite a few seconds next to his name up until that point. But to some of the other horses in this field, so the likes of Lucky Place and the Wall Park as well. But he's one that I think, like you say, just monitoring the ground, I think he could perhaps quite enjoy this and could run quite well. So I don't know what it is, and I feel like I've almost just developed a bit of attitude about Tehupu, but there's something telling me that he is the favourite that will get beat. He's the one that will let the Ackers down, but I could live to regret that statement.
It's all about opinions, isn't it? It's all about opinions, and you pay your money and you take your chance, don't you? And people that think Tehupu's value at even money can pay their money and take the chance. Personally, I think I'd be looking for one each way to take on Tehupu, and depending on the ground, the likes of Home by the Lee and the Wall Park for me would come into it. Gowl Road, I can see him running a really honest race. I just wonder if he's quite got the Grade 1 class. He's more a Grade 2 horse in my view, but he'll have a lot of local support because he's trained just over the hill by Tristan Davis, so they'll bring the house down if he were to spring a surprise.
Outside of those two of the bigger races on the day, Paul, have you got any selections elsewhere on the card?
Well, there's plenty of horses, I think, that could run well. The Wall Park, who we've just spoken about for the Stayers Hurdle, is actually also entered in the Pertemps as well earlier in the day, but I think they'll take their chance in the Stayers. Horses like Lucky Lyrene, he's a horse that's caught my eye running well so far this season, and there's one of Mouse Morris's called Franciscan Rock in the Pertemps that I think could run quite well. Of the remainder of the races, well, just going through more towards the end of the day there, you've got the amateur riders race, the Fulk Warwin Kim Muir, and there's one or two horses in there, including another one of Joseph O'Brien's called Bustleton, which I think would love the better ground if it comes up fairly dry. And there's also a horse trained by Johnny Flavin in Ireland called Midnight Hour Fred. He's one that I suggest that people take a look at because I think his form entitles him to run a very big race, and he might just have conditions to suit. But again, we'll have to wait and see. But those are two for consideration in that finale on day 3.
Yeah, that finale race looks like it could be quite a good little betting race at the minute, kind of top of the market, 10-1. So, yeah, the lucky last on day 3. Well, that is all we have time for day 3. Don't forget to check out all of Paul's selections over on Sportsbet YouTube and on Out in Front, his racing tipping service. Good luck with day 3, and we'll see you again for day 4.